Do you get anxious talking about money? Do you feel behind your peers? Are you embarrassed because maybe you didn't make the best money decisions leading up to this point? Then this video is for you. Embarrassment and anxiety are what cause most people to keep doing what they're doing even though they're seeing no results. Stick with me for a few minutes and I'll tell you how to get out of the rut. Welcome back to my channel where we're building wealth to live life on our own terms, one money move at a time. Today I'm sharing 3 baby steps that you can take to set yourself up for financial freedom even if you're feeling behind. Starting somewhere is all it takes. I'm Rami, an investor on track to retire in my early 40s, and I share weekly tips to fast track your way to financial freedom without sacrificing the luxuries you care about along the way. So let's get into it. Baby step number 1 is address your mindset. And before you X out of the video, just hear me out. One of the biggest learnings of my life is anything that I achieved started by believing that it was possible. Nothing would have become a reality for me if I didn't first think that I could do it. So check for limiting beliefs. Have your finances become so stressful that you've become avoidant? Are you telling yourself that you'll never get out of debt, that you'll never be able to invest? The way that you talk to yourself and what you actually believe you can accomplish matters more than anything else. This is also twofold. Part of addressing your mindset is broadening your horizons. Ignorance is not bliss when it comes to money, trust me. Because in 20 years, when someone that you work with is retiring because they set themselves up for financial freedom, and then you do the math and realize you have to work for the rest of your life, that's not gonna feel very blissful. You have to take charge by educating yourself. Money is only anxiety inducing when you don't have a plan for it and you don't know how it works. And 74% of Americans say that they don't feel financially secure. You don't have to be part of that statistic. You don't have to become an expert overnight, but what's one thing that you can do this week to set yourself up for financial freedom? Maybe you start by subscribing to my channel. And that brings me to my next point, baby step number 2. Micro education. No one wants to feel like they're in school, I get it. And I know that financial education is at the bottom of most people's priority list because we have so many responsibilities. But what if you took just 15 minutes out of your day to educate yourself on personal finance? 15 minutes. I spend more time than that every day thinking about random stuff that doesn't matter or scrolling on Instagram. I think most of us can spare that amount of time. Maybe it's a podcast on your daily commute to work. Bigger Pockets Money is fantastic for that. Or maybe it's joining an investing Facebook group and reading through people's tips. Either way, what does that look like for you to set aside 15 minutes to invest in your future self? Can you follow more personal finance accounts on IG so that if you're scrolling, you're at least seeing educational content? Take the first step in educating yourself. Baby step number 3 is make your money work. This is really my motto. The ultimate goal is to create a system that works for you on your journey to financial freedom. But let's be honest, creating a whole system at once can feel very daunting. I get it. So what's the lowest hanging fruit that can actually make a difference right away? A high yield savings account. I cannot stress this enough. Yet only 18% of Americans actually put their savings in a high yield savings account. They're leaving money on the table every single month. In fact, I don't know why people are still putting their savings in traditional banks. Investing is the only way to become wealthy, but we hugely underestimate how much a high yield savings account can work in your favor. For years after college, I had my money in a Chase savings account that grew at 0.5% interest. I didn't know any better because I wasn't educating myself. I recently did the math on how much money I left on the table over the years and it shook me. It was around $5,600. That's right, $5,600 left on the table because I didn't move my savings from one account to another. It literally would have required 10 minutes. Now I know better. I keep all of my savings in a high yield savings account and the interest has paid for vacations several times. It's such a super simple thing to do and there's a big payoff. So do yourself a favor, go to ally.com, I'm linking to it in the description, and set up an account today. And bonus baby step number 4, audit your spending from last month. Most people hate looking at what they spent in the past because it usually doesn't line up with what they budgeted or what they feel good about. But without that awareness, you can't make a solid plan. I used to be that way too. I hated looking at my credit card because I knew I would be disappointed by my spending. There was one month a few years ago that I realized I had spent thousands more than I planned for, all because I just kept swiping without a plan. That was when I knew I needed to make a change. Now that I regularly audit myself, I'm so much more in control of my finances and I know exactly what to expect. It's not about restriction, it's about empowerment. I want to set my future self up for success instead of getting into debt. So open up your credit card account and look at the summary graph that shows you the breakdown of how you spent your money last month. Is it in line with what you expected? Are there areas that stick out to you that you could do better in? When I did this, I found out that I was spending an embarrassing amount of money on Amazon, like so much money. So now I know that that's one of my money suckers and I behave accordingly. These insights are helpful to determine what your next step is. Do you need to delete an app? Do you need to find cheaper places to dine out with friends? Should you set up a miscellaneous budget so that you can address things that you didn't plan for? That awareness leads you to take better control. Being behind is common, staying behind is optional. Let me know what one baby step you can make today is in the comments. If you want to shave years off your retirement journey, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my weekly tips, and stay financially fabulous.